Hey, baseball fan, time for a little self-care and a few minutes of cardboard meditation. Welcome to the show that features some of baseball's oddest stories and the cardboard slabs that document them. Find peace and joy through baseball cards with your host, the big guy.
Tony Lazzeri, Darryl Strawberry, Dodgers first baseman Ronald Ray Fairley. There we go. I'm in a baseball state of mind right now, and I want to talk about one of my favorite sets. It's a kind of peculiar set. It's the 1970 Kellogg's 3D set. It's the very first set they had in the 3D format. They had, I think, about 14 years of that format, and this one is the very first. And it's got some pretty cool cards in it, lots of Hall of Famers. It's a 75 card set and was the cereal maker's first venture into baseball cards. The design incorporates a brilliant photograph. It's very beautiful. And it's set against a kind of blurry background and then covered with this plastic lenticular cover, which gives it some depth. Gives it a lot of depth, as a matter of fact. And if you like sport flicks that were out in the, the late 80s, early 90s, same technology, but they really improved the process because these Kellogg's cards had a tendency to curl and then crack. And I've seen them come out of the pack cracked. They don't curl in the pack, but they have cracked in the pack. So you have to it's just a part of the card. If you're going to collect the cards, you're just going to have to live with it. They're individually inserted into one specially marked box of Kellogg's cereal. Sorry, I was in radio for a while. I have to read it that way. Kellogg's also distributed 6-card rack-style packs, and that contained 2 iron-on patches. And I've seen those. I actually have a pack. I just don't know what I did with it. And complete sets were also available through the mail. You had to get a money order for that or a check, and you had to collect 3 or 4 box tops and send that in. However, the year following, 1971, that was not an offer made to the general public. You had to collect those cards each one at a time. You couldn't get the 71s through the mail. Cards 16 through 30 are believed to be in shorter supply. I haven't found that, but I have read that in several places. And there's, like I said, one specially marked package would contain one of these cards. All right, let's get started with the very first player here. This is Ed Kranepool. Now, this is the number 1 card in the set. Just 1 year removed, Ed is, from the World Series with the '69 Miracle Mets. Now, Ed's major league debut was in September 22nd, 1962. Now, it's kind of important to know this because he was a defensive replacement for Hall of Famer Gil Hodges. Now, later, the next year in '63, he took over right field duties, moving Hall of Famer Duke Snider over to left field. Seems Eddie was destined to become a mainstay in New York, just ousting some of the Hall of Famers there. It's a neat card, though. All right, the number 2 card in the set is the very late Pete Rose. And he was, of course, the big linchpin in the Big Red Machine of the early 1970s. Now, you know his nickname, right? Charlie Hustle. Did you know his nickname was given to him by Whitey Ford? After he walked Rose, he just sprints down the first baseline on a walk. And Whitey said, "Wow, that guy's Charlie Hustle." Well, Pete just loved that moniker, and the rest is history. Now, I've always liked the Reds photos on most cards, and on these 3D cards, they just look and feel like winners. Wouldn't be long after this card was created. They started their tear in the early 70s of becoming a mainstay in the World Series. Okay, number 3 is Cleon Jones. Now, here's another member of the Miracle Mets. In fact, he caught the last out of the last game in 1969 over the Baltimore Orioles. Now, he hit well, too, during that year, .340. And in 1973, the next time the Mets went to the World Series, he hit .260. It's a great card. And he was a really great ball player. All right. The number 4 card is Stretch, or Willie Mack, as he was affectionately known. This guy was a fearsome power hitter. And he was placed in the same lineup with Willie Mays and Orlando Cepeda back in the early 60s. That just doesn't seem fair. And when he retired, he was ranked number 2 to Babe Ruth in career home runs among left-handed batters. 7th overall. Bob Gibson said Stretch was the scariest hitter in baseball. Now, they named the little bay just outside Oracle Park McCovey Cove, because only the longest home runs make a splash hit home run. It's Willie McCovey. What a great player he was. Okay, number 5. Take a look, too, in the background, even though you know it's kind of blurry, you can really identify where he's at. That is the Yankee Stadium facade. And this number 5 card in the set is Mel Stottlemyre, a Yankee great. He tossed 40 shutouts during his career and once hit an inside-the-park grand slam. You want to know the story behind that, don't you? All right, here it goes. So it was a game against the Red Sox. Joe Pepitone walked, and Clete Boyer bunted and beat the throw from first baseman Lee Thomas to second baseman Felix Mantilla covering first. Now, Roger Repos, who was an 0 for 23 slump, walked to load the bases. And that brought up Stottlemyre. He drilled a Bill Monbequette first pitch between Carl Yastrzemski and Jim Gosker. The ball just rolled all the way to the 475-foot marker in the bleacher area of left center field. Yaz picked the ball up right away and fired it to cut off Rico Petrocelli. Now, Rico tossed the ball to Bob Tillman, who was the catcher, but it was up the third baseline by about 5 feet, and Mel was safe. It's a nice card, isn't it? Even if you're not a Yankee fan, you got to say that's really a nice card. All right, let's talk about the number 6 card. This guy was incredible, and he's really underrated. This is the number 6 card, Frank Howard. This former National League Rookie of the Year in 1960, he played for several teams, but was known as the Capital Punisher while playing in Washington, D.C. Hondo, as I knew him, playing for the Tigers, hit 382 career home runs. He played college baseball at Ohio State and was also a basketball player there, too, for the Buckeyes, and was named All-American for both sports. He was a big man and just passed away recently. Tom Terrific is the number 7 card in the 1970 Kellogg set. He was a former National League Rookie of the Year, 1967, won 3 Cy Young Awards, was in 12 All-Star games, is the Mets' all-time leader in wins, compiled 311 career wins, 3,640 strikeouts, 61 shutouts, 2.86 ERA, and tossed a no-no in 1978. Wow. That's all I'm going to say. All right, the number 8 card. Another 300-game winner. This is Don Sutton. And he played with a lot of different teams. And like most pitchers, he wasn't much of a hitter. Don holds the record for most bats without a home run. 1.354 at bats. I loved him as a broadcaster for the Braves. He was really good. All right. Number 9 card, Jimmy Wynn. Nicknamed the Toy Cannon. He got that nickname because of his size. He was 5'9", but had a lot of pop in his bat. Man, could he hit for average, extra base hits, and power. Injuries slowed him down and curtailed his career. The Toy Cannon, Jimmy Wynn. All right, we've got another Cincinnati Red here. Get him straightened out. I just dropped him. This is the 10th card in the set. It's Jim Maloney. He was a powerful pitcher, throwing 2 no-hitters in his career. Again, much like Jimmy Wynn, career injuries just kind of limited his career. Or he would have been a part of that Big Red Machine that the Cincinnati Reds were known for. It was about that time. Now, to me, this card looks like a noble baseball warrior in that classic Reds uniform. I just love the Reds, the way they look in these cards. The number 11th card in the set, Mets, Tommy Agee. He's got a great pose. Nice card. He's another member of that 69 Mets championship team, and he made a couple of amazing defensive plays to save the games in the World Series. I remember him making that backhanded catch off Ellie Hendricks all the way to the wall in center field. And then again, in the 7th, with the bases loaded and 2 outs, he made a head-first dive in center field off Paul Blair to end that threat. And he was just a great overall player. Tommy Agee, number 11 in the 1970 Kellogg set. This card is the number 12th card and is the most special card, at least as far as I'm concerned, in the set. When I think of the 1970s Kellogg set, this is the main card I think of. It's absolutely iconic. His bat is cocked, It's ready to blast the next pitch over the wall in sunny Candlestick Park. My opinion, the greatest ball player of all time. Number 12, Willie Mays. A lot of people, I'm going to say younger people in the hobby, and perhaps some of those that have just gotten into the hobby, don't know what these cards are. They look at the back and it talks about it being Exograph technology, and they think that's the maker of the card is Exograph, and that is the company that kind of pioneered the lenticular card thing here. But these are actually cards that came out of cereal. And like I said, this was the first venture into that by Kellogg's. And they've made, like I had said before, quite a few other series. They really just kind of celebrate 1970 and the entire decade of the 70s, because the stars that were in this set kind of went on to be stars for the entire decade. Here is the number 13th card, Juan Marichal. Now, if you go back and look at some of the earlier Marichal cards, this pose is the one that he always strikes. And I wonder if the pose was, something that they asked him to do, or if he just liked to do it. I don't know. I can always remember that huge leg kick he was famous for. He was a 10-time All-Star, 2-time National League wins leader. He pitched a no-hitter and is a member of the Hall of Fame. All right, number 14, Dave McNally, a part of that incredible pitching staff of the Baltimore Orioles. Him, along with Jim Palmer, Mike Cuellar, and Pat Dobson, all 20-game winners the year after this card was released. I also remember this poor guy had chronic hiccups for over a week back in 1975. He was placed in the hospital and hiccups went away after a few more days, but you're not going to pitch with hiccups, I can tell you that. And you're not going to find that stat on the back of any of his cards. All right, the very last card in this 15 set segment, Frank Robinson, card number 15, and I never liked this card as a kid. I never liked it. I can tell you why. It's a reason that only a kid would have a problem with it. It looked like he had the picture taken in a national park, not a ballpark. I don't know. Frank was an exceptional athlete, and he was surrounded by soon-to-be incredible athletes, because in his high school, which was in Oakland, California, his basketball teammate was Bill Russell, and his baseball teammates were Vada Pinson and Curt Flood. There you go. The first 15 cards in the 1970 Kellogg set. Thanks for watching this segment featuring the first of 5 segments highlighting the 1970 Kellogg's 3D cards. Now watch for the second video that's going to come out pretty soon of the next 15. And if you like this content, can you do me a favor and click the subscribe button and give me that like button too? You know what kind of magic you can bring to my YouTube channel when you do that? Well, click those things and you'll find out. So, okay. Don't wait for people to bring you happiness. You have got to go out and get that yourself. You do. And you can find happiness with baseball cards. You can. Get them, put them in your life, and you'll be happy. Promise. Talk soon.
Cardboard meditation helps set your mind right. Thank you for watching. Show us your appreciation by clicking the like and subscribe button. Ring the bell while you're at it so you'll know when we upload a new story.